an agency just provides chat, and it's like, great, but well, you could be doing 120, right? And if I offered you the chance for 20K today, you'd take it.
Absolutely.
So popular, be it the niches that are trendy, be it the strategies. And I think nowadays, a lot of people are quick to hire a team of assistants, team of VAs, chat teams. You know how it works? When you then bring people in, it's much easier to teach.
Liam, so glad to see you here. Thank you for finding the time. I know that you're a very busy person with lots of experience that I would like to ask you about.
Yes.
Because that level, you definitely have something to share that we are all interested in getting some insights, some ideas, those tendencies that are getting all changing, diversifying all the time. Different strategies emerge, different strategies disappear. So let me ask you a few questions before we start. Really glad to see you here. And we are at TES in Sevilla. What do you think about the conference itself?
Yeah, I think it's been very different to my previous attendances to TES. I think it's more agency and creator led as naturally the industry is becoming. There's only so much longer that it can be led by the main sites. If the main sites have less traffic and more of the market share is spread amongst guys like yourself and us and creators. And so I think naturally it's favoring more towards those people. But I mean, for people like you and I, it's good, right?
Absolutely. The B2B part of it brings a lot of value. Ultimately, they've been doing multiple events in different cities and getting better and better every time. There are so many different familiar faces that you see again and again, but there are new people who appear and bring value to the ecosystem, to the industry. And I am also asking about their experience, what they bring, how they help. This is a synergy. After all, it all works in such a combination that one thing helps another, and together it's even better. So I would really like to learn more about your journey. I know that it started a long time ago. So how did you come up with an idea to build an agency? What were the first steps? Maybe something that you would recommend to skip and avoid as a problem that you managed to solve for new agencies to build?
Yeah, I mean, on a personal level, I came into the industry because Cam and I were in fitness and we had different products and services being offered in the fitness industry. And we saw the appeal of a market where customers wanted to buy your stuff and you didn't have to sell it to them very well. So, I mean, as far as getting into the industry, that was the real motivator for us. Agency specifically, I mean, look, you can advise all day long about what does work, what doesn't work. There's many things, right? But I also believe in the value of trial and error. And I do think that a lot of the reasons why we've been able to succeed is because we just got in the trenches. We just gave it a go, right? I mean, Cam and I, for the first 18 months, we worked 18-hour rotation shifts between us. So we take it in turns to sleep 6 hours and we ran the entire business in 2 hours.
Incredible.
And I think nowadays, a lot of people are quick to hire a team of assistants, team of VAs, chat teams, traffic providers, if they can find ones, you know, whatever it is. And that's all well and good, but then you're offloading the opportunity to learn, okay? And I think for us, I'm actually super grateful that we were in the trenches, posting on social media, chatting ourselves, recruiting ourselves, taking every sales call, you know, no matter what it was, we were doing it.
Right.
And I like that. I think that's cool. I mean, when you get a feel for the business yourself, you know how it works. When you then bring people in, it's much easier to teach. Whereas I think if you're relying on other services externally, you never truly get a grasp on the business that you own.
Exactly. You know every single aspect of that because you learned from it, making mistakes, finding solution, and now you can easily, well, with specific peculiarities that we never know that appear as a all of a sudden issue, but still having all that experience brings the understanding, brings the ability to organize everything. This is great. What were the next steps? Like those mistakes that you overcame, maybe there were some lately over the course of the last years, maybe there was something that you saw as a strategy that doesn't work anymore, something that you see as some just now starts. Maybe you could share some insights on that. How, nowadays, using the latest trends, what do you see? How do you see the market evolving?
It evolves in a multifaceted way. So it be it the platforms that are popular, be it the niches that are trendy, be it the strategies that work. I mean, we've seen transition across all of those verticals since we encountered the industry first, right? I mean, if we go back to 2022, everything was about TikTok, okay? It was quite sexual content. It was for the most part implied nudity. In some cases, semi-NSFW content. If you bounced your boobs and you shook your ass and you were a hot girl on TikTok, you made money, right? You could do 50K a month with any creator if they were willing to do that on TikTok. Evolved from there. I mean, TikTok then took a turn. Instagram became much more popular. I mean, throughout 2022 and 2023, dating apps were amazing. So, you know, most creators and agencies that had the ability to do so would attack the dating apps. Nowadays, you try and do that, it's virtually impossible. And so there's always evolution in the markets that we can penetrate as an agency and creator. But also, as I mentioned yesterday, you know, the niches that are popular. Rewind a few years, it was all about the girl next door. It was all about the MILF. It was all about the occupational niches, you know, the nurses, the whatever it is, the schoolgirls. But now, again, they're incredibly oversaturated, and we're more specific with the niches that are popular. Again, to develop on that, I mean, 2023 was the introduction of the popularity behind trans. 2024, that continued thoroughly, and trans was absolutely peaking mid-2024. We saw the uproar of the e-girl and the goth girl and the gamer girl last year as well. And moving into 2025, I've got conviction that will be the fitness girl. No one really knows. My honest conviction is that will be the fitness girl this year.
Interesting. I didn't expect less. You know how the market evolves and specific things emerge, specific things go away. This is very nice to share, because I assume that many agencies who are listening to us, they see value in this as well. Maybe you would give to that extent as you can speak to the publicly. Maybe there is something that you would advise them to do these days, maybe something that brings them value in terms of, like, from a professional perspective, from someone who has so much experience, maybe some advice that would help some new agencies.
As far as just running the agency as a whole?
Yes.
I don't think you can get much further than just operating with a moral code and professionalism. And I know that it's a bit of a bullshit answer because it's simple and it's moral and it's the easy one. But honestly, I attribute a lot of our growth to that. I mean, you know, the amount of agencies that act out of emotion, that don't show creators respect, that encourage creators to do things that they maybe don't want to do. You know, I mentioned this at the talk yesterday, even as far as like branding. I don't see the leverage in forcing, so to speak, a creator to do something, right? We believe in morality. We believe in the creators doing what they want to do. I think you attain a level of trust and loyalty with the creators in that way. When they feel safe around you as an agency owner, when they know they're not being preyed on financially, sexually, whatever it might be, the barriers come down a little bit, and there's a level of trust that they will give. Now, that's great from a legal standpoint. It's great from a moral standpoint. It's also great from a business standpoint because they put their heart and soul into it. And if they genuinely like you and trust you, and you say, hey, look, I think this is going to be amazing for your page, give it a go, see what you think, they'll give it a go. Whereas if you say, do this for me now, it's a different vibe, right? And that's something that I see on Telegram. And I mean, one of the bits of advice I would be for a new agency is don't believe what you see on Telegram. Don't listen to the people that you talk to on Telegram. I'm not saying there aren't some great people on there. There are. I've met lots of amazing people on Telegram. But I also see a lot of shit, especially in these large free communities, okay, where people will distribute this information about how to treat girls in real life. They'll distribute information about how to lock creators out of their own OnlyFans accounts, financial, so many different verticals where data is given out to people and they take that as gospel. I don't think it's the right play. I think look at it as a corporate business. Treat it like any other. Imagine you're in manufacturing. Imagine you're in logistics, anything else. The corporate respect that we show each other, the legalities that we abide by, they'll help you grow in the space.
I totally agree. The way you put it, make it trust-based, and this connection would make it people human. After all, we are all just like looking for being treated well,
Absolutely.
Like corporate ethics, corporate business communication, and even some become friends. Recently, I attended La Expo in Colombia, and there were some webcam studios who are only looking for opening their OnlyFans agency. And what I saw is that they are friends there within each other. There is some manager who organizes everything, usually a lady a bit older than everyone else, and then young models who feel like a family. And then as long as you build this way your business, it logically brings fruit. Like it bears.
Yeah.
I mean,
making creators feel comfortable is the best marketing tool you have.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we do a lot of in real life shoots with our creators because we can offer a lot of value as far as the videography, the ideation on a day, outfitting, scene setting. It makes the creator's content day way easier. But we do it by giving them people that they want to spend time with. So for example, if there's a female content creator, we send females to the content day. And it's just little details like that help the creator have a completely different perspective of your agency. Well, look, I mean, the professionalism is a greatly important part, but it's only the first step, okay? Because if you still don't know what you're doing, the professionalism doesn't really help you. There's lots of professionals that have entered the space with the utmost respect and morality, and they haven't grown a successful agency. So it's not the only piece of the puzzle. It's just something to keep in mind if you're growing.
I like that you have multiple pieces of puzzles in mind, because yesterday you also mentioned the conversion that also is there and plays an important role. Not only the acquisition of traffic, not only the chatting with all the fans, but also the part in between, where it comes to making sure that they stay, that there is a long-term relationship built. Could you share some insight on that? What is the best way to make sure that conversion is great?
Yeah, conversion's an interesting topic. I brought it up yesterday casually, and was the only reason we spoke about it at my talk yesterday was because I was gobsmacked that the room was so vacant when it came to the idea of profile conversion. So yeah, I mean, look, my honest perspective is that there's the traffic acquisition, right, which is what we might refer to as marketing or whatever else. But then people that just take this hurdle, right? They just jump to, okay, let's get the highest LTV we can, maximize revenue on chatting, mass messages, PPVs, whatever. All well and good. But what happens in between? Because we're now just presuming that everybody who looks at our social content is buying PPVs. But we all know that's not the case. There's this big thing in the middle called profile conversion, where people will look at the page and not subscribe. People will click on the funnel on the social page, but not go through to OnlyFans. People will look at the page, quite enjoy what they see, but not click the word subscribe. These are all things that we have to look at. And whether it be through split testing the profile photo, cover photo, the bio, the bundles, the copywriting, all of these things have a huge impact, especially if you're driving a lot of traffic. I mean, look, you aren't going to turn a $3,000 per month account into 100K with conversion. But if your page is doing 100K, well, you could be doing 120, right? And if I offered you the chance for 20K today, you'd take it.
Absolutely.
So why do we ignore this, is right? And I guess that was the thesis of yesterday, because I can't fathom why so few people pay attention.
This is great to think about such details. What about your own agency? Do you keep scaling? Do you keep getting more and more content creators to work with? Are you interested in working with some specific models, or you are open to very wide variety?
Anything that stands out, again, unique, niched, we're obviously more attracted to, but there's also some amazing creators that we work with that aren't necessarily niche, but we just love working with them. And so I don't think we're hyper-focused on any particular niche ourselves, but I do think it's important to know your avatar. So I can tell you exactly what we look for in a creator, but that might apply to different niches.
I see. Sometimes I get asked by content creators if they should join an agency, if there is some reliable agency to work with, if there is some agency that they can trust and build a long-term cooperation with. Why would you, in brief, short terms, describe why people can trust you, why they can find your agency reliable, and why should content creators who had some bad experience with agencies work with you?
Why they should work with us, I would put forward a question reversal on, if you find me a reason why they shouldn't, then
I like it.
I'd like to hear that. It's more just the basis of, and this applies to anyone, and I'm sure there's loads of fantastic agencies. In fact, I know quite a few fantastic agencies. They're able to drive traffic on the agency side. A big flaw that's common is that an agency just provides chat, and it's like, great, but we can all do that. So what else can you do for me as a creator, right? Especially those that are charging 50% splits. What else can you do? Because you can pick chat up from 15% now. So where does the 35% come from? So, I mean, if you offer a comprehensive service that covers every detail, you're actually good at it, which is part 2 of that. You look reliable, you look trustworthy, and the energy's right, then I think any agency can work. And in fact, you know what? It's not always a case of the big agencies are the best. In fact, there's lots of cases where I speak to creators on the phone and I think, you know what? We're just not the best for you. And we'll put them in the direction of those that we know, agencies that we're friendly with, and say, look, these guys are much more suited to you. Because if there's a creator that needs traffic today, well, hey, we don't do that. We build brands, okay? We like to work with creators on the long term. The kind of creators that we work with, the established brands, we build millions and millions of followers, and they're pages that go on and do 1 million plus a month from zero. So it's great if you're willing to commit to that, but not everybody is. And if they're looking for a page that can instantly grow on the first day, yeah, maybe we're not the case. If they're looking for agencies that are willing to work with them on unfair splits, again, we're not necessarily interested in that. So I guess goes back to knowing your avatar, right? Know the kind of creators that you want to work with, and know the kind of creators that you can add value to. Work with that and only that.
I really like how you put it, the build a brand. Could you give me maybe a few quick examples on how could someone build a brand? What does that consist of?
I mean, branding is being rememberable, right? So if we look at any creator, I'll use the same example as I did yesterday with Jelly Bean, right?
Yeah.
Everybody remembers Jelly Bean's content because it's so well branded. She's just a normal girl, but she does stuff that you remember, and therefore she's branded incredibly well. So the ideology of a good branding is just being rememberable. Now, I like the idea of a brand that can be transpired to whatever you want in the future. So let's say, for example, a content creator decides that they don't want to do OnlyFans tomorrow. Cool. You've still got hundreds of thousands of people that follow you that love you, okay? They love you as a creator, you as a person. They're invested in your personality. Meaning if you want to sell underwear or you want to start drop shipping or whatever, you've still got an audience. And I think that's powerful. Whereas if you're just bouncing your tips, producing NSFW content, then the second you stop that, your audience stop. So I think that it's a tool. I think it's an asset to have a brand that people are continually invested in and they're interested in you and not just your content.
I really like it.
The example would be produce long form YouTube videos. Okay. If we're looking at YouTube as an acquisition channel, don't just do wet versus dry. Don't just do try on hauls. Produce vlogs. Okay. Things that people can buy into.
Some kind of useful information that they can also enjoy, not only watching, but also feeling like this sense of connection. Maybe kind of they become even friends. Not only fans, but also they feel this, like this image is not only the image on the internet, but rather this is a personality, more than just NSFW contents behind it.
Yeah, it can be education, it can be entertainment. It doesn't matter what it is. It just can't be erotic 24/7.
Yeah.
There has to be some substance to it.
And I also heard some agency owners say that it can actually be something pretty simple, not necessarily something explicit. Someone can just clean the house in the lingerie, and that is the content. Something that they enjoy doing, what you were saying, find what they really enjoy, their hobbies, their things that they like, and that brings the best branding as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely an advocate for finding a branding that they're passionate about. If you don't like watching golf, and I tell you that your branding is now to go and watch golf, I presume you're not going to do that with much passion.
That's right.
Whereas if you told me that cricket's your sport, and I said, look, let's do some cricket, there's an inner desire within you to actually go out and do the work, okay? You want to do it. Now, we have a beauty with content creation of being able to do what we want. So why do something that you don't enjoy? Why do something you don't want? Why force it, okay? People buy authenticity, and if they can see that the content is produced because you organically like what it is, they'll buy into that as much as they'll buy into the good content.
I totally agree. That makes sense. What do you think about making your decisions based on data? Does it make sense to see all the statistics, analytics, to track data, make it based on it?
Data's one part of the puzzle, right? I've met a few guys in the space that live by data, and I like that, and I think that's cool, but data needs context in order to be valuable. And sometimes you've got to go with your gut, sometimes you've got to judge it based on emotion. You know, if the data says do more of X, but you know that X is upsetting the creator, well, don't do X, right? So we've got to take an element of context and intuition to apply that data to our business. You can definitely use data to track KPIs. I'm all about data when it comes to managing performance of my team, performance of accounts, performance of page conversion, performance of every detail. But I don't use data to make business decisions. Okay, so I don't change strategy based on data. I use the data to help me consider where we could improve. or I use data to help me understand what I might change on a minor detail, right? Data is what you use to fix the little stuff, okay? It's what you use to fix the profile conversion through different pictures, or the conversion of the funnel from the social platform by how many social icons are going to be in there, right? It's the tiny stuff that accumulates. The big deal needs to still be treated like a big decision. It's people, it's talent, it's strategy. Data doesn't really help so much there. It just gives the context.
This sounds insightful. How do you organize that team of people, being humans after all?
Sure.
How do you do it on a managerial top level while still maintaining that level of trust, the sensation of like being there as a team, working together as a group of people who like each other, who are almost like friends, right? How do you manage it? Maybe some useful advice on that?
As far as team, I think culture is the big deal, right? And I can speak for us because we're a physical office. Okay, so we run physical corporate business. It's a little bit different to some agencies where you have virtual offices, where you have virtual assistants and everything's ran communally through Slack or whatever it might be, where culture is harder to bring to the table. Because we run corporate business, it's quite easy for us to create culture. Okay, we've got an amazing office. We have a 15,000 square foot office in the UK where we have everything from pool tables and ping pong tables to full spa facilities and a 7,000 square foot gym. So as far as creating culture and environment, I mean, we tick that box really, really well. Okay, the place to be is our office. Everybody wants to be there. So they have an inner drive. I need to get to the office to see my friends, to socialize, to work hard. There's a culture of this kind of hustle culture where you can't leave early because what are you going to do? Everybody else is here, right? You have this, we make it cool and fun to work hard and have pride in your work. And there's a chain of accountability. You can't get a job at TDM without somebody already in the team vouching for you, which means that there's this inner accountability whereby it's not just a case of you're letting yourself down at work, you're letting him down. And he won't let you down because he'll let him down.
Right.
And there's this accountability where, out of respect, you put pride into your work, which means the service that we provide to our creators is 10 out of 10, or at least we hope so, because we put so much effort into it.
Interesting. This definitely makes sense to me. I never thought about that myself. And good to know.
There's drawbacks to it, right? Don't let me paint a false picture here. I mean, you don't always have C-suite executives in your friendship group, right? So if you want to scale, you need to hire some talent that maybe you don't know, and you need to break the rule a little bit. But as far as the core team and the culture that we build to set the foundation of our business, the culture has been the key part in that.
That is nice. I see that it brings value and definitely sounds like a reasonable way of doing it.
Yeah.
Concerning the creators that you work with, I know that some creators prefer to work without an agency. Some prefer to work with an agency. Do you always recommend creators to join an agency, or you see that sometimes it's reasonable for them to continue like alone?
I don't think that I can tell a creator what's best for her or him. Okay, I think they need to make that decision themselves based on what they want out of life, right? I spoke to some creators in the past, and one of the questions I always ask is, look, what's the dream outcome here? What do you want out of this? What's the end goal here? Like, what are we doing? Why are we here talking today? And sometimes they'll come back and they'll say, I want to make more money. I want more freedom. I want to buy back my time, in which case an agency is a great place. They might also come back and say that they don't really know. They love managing their own page. The authenticity is the most important thing to them. And I'm like, well, you know what? An agency isn't the right play. And if you love talking to your fans and that's a genuine passion of yours, just hire a few assistants to pick up some of the bullshit in the rest of your life so that you can do that. Right? And I don't always think the agency is the answer. But what I would say is that 2 is better than 1. And a team will always go further. And there's no I in team, unfortunately. And so if you do want to grow to the standards that a lot of these creators have aspirations to grow to, it's very rare I talk to a creator who says, yeah, I'm really interested in being in the top 3.5%. You know, they want the 0.1, the 0.01. And I'm yet to really see a creator at 0.01 who's done it by herself. Doesn't necessarily mean you need an agency. Your own team is the same thing, but a team is more powerfully.
Yeah, I definitely agree that they can bring benefit and value to managing the profile. That makes sense to me. If it happens that some creator listens to us and wants to join your team, wants to work with you, how can they get in touch with you?
Sure. I mean, tdmbusiness.com is a collective workspace where all of our businesses and services, I mean, we offer an entire creator economy, right? Be it financial products, be it direct management, be it traffic, be it chat, whatever it might be. We offer comprehensive services for each department. And so tdmbusiness.com is the best place for anyone to find us.
Great.
Yeah.
And they can get in touch. They will have some representative replying back, and then they
That's what I mean.
Perfect. That is the you truly care about the team.
Yeah.
I can feel it from what you say, and you build a team that organize it in a such a way that they want to go to the office, they want to be there, and they want to work even better every day. This is my first time perspective that I see from what I hear. I like it. If I was a content creator, I would definitely join and at least try how it goes, see how it works, because I see value in this. This is great. I'm really grateful for you to find the time to share all those insights, all those ideas, and some advice as well. Thank you, Liam, for being here today. Always glad to see you, and I hope to see you at other conferences, other summits as well.
So, appreciate it.
Thanks.